Welcome to the Digital Masterclass series, part of Glen City Council's business support programs. Today's topic is cybersecurity for small business. Today's agenda will include why you should bother with cybersecurity, the 2021 cybersecurity threat landscape, types of cybersecurity threats affecting small business, how you can develop resilience, and the question of outsourcing. So, why should you bother with cybersecurity? If you use the internet, then you are at risk of a potential cybersecurity breach. Cybersecurity should be a priority no matter the size of your business. It is one of those things that is only thought about when something goes wrong, which is a very ineffective way of managing this particular problem, as prevention is the best way to manage it. And there are very simple and free ways that you can manage your cybersecurity. In Australia, changes to the data breach laws that happened in 2016 also mean that you're now legally required to report a data breach, and this can lead to reputation damage. The 2021 cyber threat landscape is an important one for small businesses to consider. That's because although historically hackers have focused their energies on large businesses that earn a lot of money or have a lot of sensitive information, you no longer have to have hacker level technical skills to commit a cyber crime. What's happening now is that hacking software is now available to be bought and downloaded via the dark web. This means that anybody who has access to the dark web and has the money to buy it can buy hacking software and basically click go to have it hack a business for them. Because of this democratization, small businesses have become a much more common target for hacking, and they're now at risk, where they historically haven't been of much interest to hackers. Having antivirus software is no longer enough, as the range of cyber threats that are out there far outstrip the capabilities of automated software. You really need some kind of human thought behind your cybersecurity in order to have a robust policy working there. So, some of the key types of cybersecurity threats that affect small business. Now, although a hacker or a group of hackers are unlikely to target a small business, unless there is a political motivation, automated cyber attacks, as I explained before, which don't require a lot of technical knowledge or effort, are an ever-growing threat. Now, some of the most common types of these include data theft. Now, this can happen in a multitude of different ways. On a very simple level, it could just be a disgruntled employee that emails lists of your clients' personal information to themselves. You could have a hacker using software to access your data and take it. And then you can have it as a result of hackers targeting larger businesses that have your details. So Adobe, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Canva, Dropbox, Uber, and Zoom have all suffered cybersecurity attacks over the past decade, where hackers have stolen user data like emails, password, credit card information, birth dates, full names, and contact information. And then the data is usually then sold on the dark web or occasionally even published publicly online. Now, identity theft is the next one. It's closely linked to data theft, as once someone buys stolen data, they can then use your information to do whatever they like. Instances of identity theft don't always have to be linked with data theft, though. An increasingly common type of identity theft online happens on social media, where copycats create accounts of businesses that are set up to impersonate the business for financial gain. Now, Facebook, social media platforms like Facebook have been very slow to respond to this type of identity theft, meaning that once it has happened, if you don't have an officially recognized business account, Facebook may refuse to take down the copycat account, and it is a relatively easy thing to do. Malware is the next on this list. This is a blanket term for malicious and intrusive software like viruses, worms, adware, etc. This is the category that can almost entirely be managed through having up-to-date antivirus software, but this is the only one on the list that you have in front of you. So 1 out of 6 that can be managed in this way. So as I said before, you need to involve some human thought and engineering into your cybersecurity policies if you want to have a robust one. Phishing. Now, these are emails that try to trick you into clicking a dangerous link, sharing personal information, or providing financial information. Common phishing scams come in the guise of emails from well-known local energy or telecommunications providers, as well as banks or even the ATO. Ransomware. So that's where your data is hijacked and you're locked out of your system. Access to your system is returned once you pay a ransom. It can be anywhere from a few $100s to a couple of $1,000s. A watering hole attack. This is a relatively new term and concept. This is basically where a fake version of a real website where you're known to go is set up, and it's used to steal your personal information or infect your system. And the last one on that list I have is a denial of service attack. So this is where a network of computers is used to overwhelm your system. This is now used to increasingly target individuals and businesses as a result of social media activity, and it's become a common form of internet trolling. So for example, if a business posts something perhaps a little bit politically motivated and a group of people take a dislike to it, they can commit what is called a denial of service attack on your business by getting a whole lot of other people on the internet together to create that attack. So developing resilience. Cyber criminals who target small businesses do so because they assume it's going to be an easy payday. As I said, in 2021, most cyber criminals are not sophisticated hackers. They're not going to put a huge amount of effort into accessing your system. They're going to look for big holes and obvious vulnerabilities and try and exploit those. So understanding what they tend to target and then putting in simple preventative measures in place make it much harder for an attack to be effective, and ultimately probably mean that they won't attack your business in the first place. So really the best way to manage this and being aware of what they attack and target is education. Education and awareness are the most important tools when it comes to cybersecurity management. Educating yourself and your team and even your customers about cybersecurity is really important. So that might mean learning to identify the signs of a phishing email, including cybersecurity education and protocols as part of staff onboarding, or putting up reminders around the office about cybersecurity safety. For your customers, it might mean sending them out emails or reminders that you would never contact them via email to ask for personal information, financial information, that kind of thing, to make sure that they don't respond to phishing attacks, for example. On a systemic level, some of the things that you could do is put in place access limitations to your system, meaning that only a few people can access sensitive information. Establishing a password policy. Now, this can include a whole lot of different things. It could include two-factor authentication or creating a regular password schedule for everybody in the office to change their passwords. And finally, backing up your data on a regular basis to ensure that if anything does happen and the worst happens and you need to create a backup, you have a relatively recent backup that you can go to. Now, the question of outsourcing. So cybersecurity needs vary from business to business. What I've gone through today are a very broad overview of the landscape and some very simple things that small businesses can do to create resilience and make it and discourage people from trying to breach their cybersecurity. However, As a rule of thumb, if you store sensitive client information on your CRM that is internet accessible, then you need to explore advanced security options, because if your client's data is breached, then you potentially could suffer some serious reputational damage and ultimately business loss. Now, outsourcing could include a few different things. Usually it would include outsourcing your security to an IT specialist. Now, this can include anything from having your data put on an IT company's server to protect it. It could also involve having them perform a review of your security, providing antivirus software, or even providing a help desk support. Another option is to invest in cyber insurance, which is now available for some small businesses. So that concludes today's webinar. If you don't already, you can subscribe to the fortnightly e-news by emailing City Futures for the link. If you'd like any more information on any of our programs, please don't hesitate to email us at cityfutures@gleneira.vic.gov.au. Thank you.